RDW Plus, your forecast, your safety, your community. Always keeping you ahead of the changing weather.
Well, Thursday edition. Welcome in, everybody. Meteorologist Tim Strong here with Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale with First Alert Focus. Got a pretty exciting setup potentially here for our area. I'm sure the antennas are just exploding with excitement, don't you think?
I know it. A lot to talk about over the next couple of days. We got some things to talk about for the immediate future, but all eyes on the weekend. And I'm sure everyone has seen the buzz going around social media that there could be a few flakes.
Yeah, I mean,
a few flakes.
There might be something around here.
Yeah.
So we'll get right into it here. We are going to be in for a much colder forecast here for the rest of the week. Very windy too. So a combination of really dry conditions. Very windy forecast here for today, which will look for winds to more than likely be gusting, which have already 20 plus miles per hour. It's going to create a higher fire danger for this region. In fact, across a lot of the two-state, we'll be dealing with a high fire danger here. So colder finish to the week. We've kind of gone back and forth from Monday and Tuesdays. Cold start to Wednesday, and today, well, we're back into that familiar cold outlook coming in. Yes, we are going to focus a lot on the First Alert for Sunday, the weekend outlook, the impacts that we could see here locally because of that potential of some winter weather, whether it be rain, some frozen precip, or a little bit of snow across parts of the southeast. Riley will be looking at that more in detail coming up. And then we'll look at the 7-day because there is going to be kind of a pattern shift again into next week. We're going to be looking drier here. We're not really looking at a significant amount of wet weather other than what comes through for the weekend. Beyond that, we're going to stay on the dry side here. So you can really see the impacts. This special weather statement has all to do with the high fire danger. And those are the counties that are shaded in this brownish orange color here. And this covers almost the entire state, if not the entire two-state. A few other counties here, cold weather advisory, because they may meet criteria for that cold weather advisory as we sink down into some teens and 20s, potentially for overnight lows into Friday. And that would be Jenkins, Screven, and Allendale County toward the low country. So every location varies and differs depending on what the temperatures would be. It takes a little bit less of a colder morning low to get that cold weather advisory right there in areas south and east of town than it does right here and across North Georgia, because usually those spots can see a little bit colder weather more often. Now let's get into the fire danger. Wind gusts potentially 20 to 30 throughout today. Very low humidity and just completely dry fuels and dry soil. We haven't really had a lot of moisture from earlier this week. Kind of some showers that did pass through yesterday might have helped a little bit, but just not enough to really change up that forecast here. So we are going to be looking at that First Alert for Sunday, mainly for the morning hours through at least midday. And it could be that some of the low country of South Carolina and parts of the two-state see a little bit of that frozen precip here. So the temperatures are going to be right on the threshold of the freezing mark early Sunday, but not expected to stay at the freezing mark the entire day. Boy, it tells us right there the story out at the lake off the Thurman Dam. We've got some white caps, and it is already turning very windy across that area. Rest of today, current temperatures are expected to move only back in the lower 40s. We've probably had our max high temperature just a little after midnight. We'll steadily climb and hold with upper 30s and low 40s. Yes, plenty of sunshine. By the looks of it, it'll be a beautiful day. It is definitely back into feeling like winter, no doubt about that. Just barely above freezing here in Sparta and Gibson, 34 to 37 degrees, just about covering a lot of the region here. Winds pick back right up here. We have several locations with wind gusts 20 plus, Waynesboro, Sylvania, 23 to 24 mile per hour wind gusts. And even in some of those shadings of green, that's even higher than maybe some 25 to almost 30 mile per hour wind gusts. So those are from the northwest. It's going to be a brisk day. Could be looking at 25 to 30 mile per hour gusts. The wind value's not near as strong for tomorrow, but it may feel like the mid 30s for the entire day as we sit with those winds and the wind chill values here. So yes, it is going to be a bit of a change going back into a colder finish this week. Much more to come here with Riley on that weekend outlook when we return. Stay with us.
Welcome back in, folks. For the weekend, we are looking at the chance for maybe a few showers Saturday. That'll be thanks to a cold front moving through, and then behind that cold front, we'll have some cold air and likely some moisture overriding that cold air as an area of low pressure forms near the coastline, and that's where our winter weather precipitation does come into play. So it does look like we will see some flakes fly. Right now, we're anticipating most likely a rain-snow mix. Now, in this type setup to where temperatures are close to freezing and we see snow falling, well, this can lead to some really fat flakes. So I would imagine we could have some whiteout conditions at times. But the thing is, see that high temperature Sunday afternoon? We're expecting to actually hit the 40s for high temps late into the day Sunday. So any snow that falls, I think will have a pretty tough time accumulating. Here's a look at our global models. So these are the two models that go out this far in time. So still 3 days out. We're getting close to our higher range or our higher resolution in-house models to get closer to Sunday. By this afternoon, we should at least have a model run that makes it through about 2 p.m. Sunday. Right now, our in-house model only goes through around 7 a.m. Sunday, and right now it doesn't show necessarily a ton. But here's a look at the GFS and the European model. You can see still a pretty big difference between the two, but they both show a pretty similar setup. So we're starting to notice a little bit better model consistency on what exactly our setup will be with this cold front off the coastline. We'll have this area of low pressure forming in the Gulf of America and getting close to that Georgia-Florida line. That's going to help wrap in some of that warmer moisture over that cold air, and that's where we can lead to possibly that rain-snow mix or maybe even just a straight snow if we are looking at a cold enough atmosphere. So the GFS is the bullish of these two models, but if you ask any meteorologist that has been doing this a number of years, they will tell you the GFS is not one you want to put a lot of money on for snowfall. That usually just overdoes the snow a good bit, especially even just this amount of time in the future. Now, the European model, that's definitely the better snow model, and that's the one that's less bullish on the potential for a ton of snow, but both of them still show that chance. So what I'm going to do is going to show you the European model here. So there's that cold front passing through Saturday. Most of the rain should be out of here by around midday, and temperatures will likely top out in the upper 50s. Once we get towards Sunday morning, temperatures are anticipated to be close to the freezing mark. We could see a few spots drop to near freezing, so that 32-degree threshold is where we would be able to possibly see some accumulating conditions. But you can see the European by around 7 to 8 a.m. Possibly a wintry mix south of I-20, generally just rain closer to the coastline. But as we start to add moisture and precipitation through that column of the atmosphere, we can get what's called evaporative cooling. So that can allow our temperatures to possibly drop a couple degrees if there's a big difference between the temperature and the dew point. Once you add in that moisture falling or that precipitation falling, you're going to see your temperature and dew point try to meet in the middle. So that's that evaporative cooling that could allow temperatures to stay close to freezing through around midday. You can see the Europeans actually showing the best chance for rain or snow and rain mix once we get towards around midday, and a pretty good swath of it. The thing is, our temperature is still anticipated to most likely be just a degree or two above that freezing threshold, and then once we get later into the afternoon, we'll likely see temperatures work their way back up into the 40s once we do see this clearing behind this precipitation, but the potential for some flakes to fly will continue through at least around midday. Now, anything that doesn't evaporate Sunday afternoon, well, it does have a very decent chance of freezing overnight Sunday into Monday morning as temperatures drop all the way down to the 20s, but high temperatures Monday afternoon will at least work their way back up into the 40s. So here's a look at the potential snow totals. This is from the European model. It's showing really just a trace, folks, and many of our spots not necessarily see a ton of accumulating snow. So this is not the best for those snow lovers that are hoping for a lot of snow out there, but still showing the potential maybe for up to a trace or dusting out there. Now, the GFS, that's the more bullish model, but remember, not necessarily the most accurate model in these type setups, but it does show up to an inch or more in some spots as we head throughout the day on Sunday. So just going to have to stay updated on the forecast over the next couple of days. This will likely continue to change model run to model run. So just make sure you are staying updated. We'll have a little bit more for you after a short break. All right, welcome back, folks. One thing Tim and I have been talking about is that there's still a lot of uncertainty with the forecast heading into our Sunday for that potential of some flakes to fly. So we're going to play a little weather plinko out here.
Right.
This helps us explain kind of the different outcomes that could happen. So 10 days away from a potential snow event, there's a lot of different options to where that plinko chip could end up later into time. So this is the thing. We're getting closer and closer, so our plinko chip is starting to get lower and lower on the board. So there's still different outcomes that could potentially happen, but it's at least coming into view of those potential outcomes highlighted in the green there. So one small deviation can make a big difference, anywhere from seeing no snow to, hey, maybe there's a 10% chance maybe we get over an inch of snow with this, but it's a very low chance. But the thing is, hey, it's still on the plinko board and it could hit. So that's the thing. As we're getting closer and closer, we'll start to fine tune these details. And we were talking about by later today, this will be in range of our higher resolution in-house model, which usually handles these events a little bit better. It gives us just finer detail for what to expect. So encouraging everyone just to continue, stay updated on forecast.
Yeah, I mean, we'll continue to have more and more updates. Don't put all your plinko chips in it for right now. We'll start getting more fine tuning, as you just mentioned there, at the end of probably tomorrow and a good look into Sunday. All right, Nick Proto is standing by with your Fastcast. Nick?